Here we are, hitting up events, drinking our way through Chicago beer, and trying not to miss a thing.
Yeah, because, got a cork popped out, boom, it flies like fucking 10 feet. We're like, yeah, let's do it.
All you have to do is add some fruit, stir it up, and ride that milk-shaped wave.
Whenever I see him, I gotta take a photo with the most decorated brewer in Chicago, Jonathan Cutler.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to, every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Sometimes you want a small beer, but really, you want a big beer.
You gotta take in all those big aromatic hops.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Waiting in line for a bottle release?
You should have never been a fad. The black IPA is delicious.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski,
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nik White.
and it's a cold time here in Chicago.
What time is it?
It's cold time. It's the temperature and the beer. That's what you get, cold time.
It's appropriate, man. This is Revolution's latest rollout. They're pushing it. They're pushing it hard, man. This is 4.8 premium lager made in Chicago.
Brewed slow and low.
Slow and low, just like fucking Arthur Bryan's. I really like this can, man. Powder blue on one side, dark blue on the other side. More importantly, it's really easy drinking.
Yeah, and 12-pack little cases. I bet is there 6-packs too?
Right? I would assume so.
Yeah, and 12-ounce cans, which as Metropolitan was closing, I said I miss this 12-ounce can format, like Fader, which is also a premium lager.
Right. Was
12-ounce
that was 12, right?
Yeah. You'd want these like crushable 4.5% beers, just like easy drinking after work, sitting on the deck kind of beers.
And nobody wants a 16-ounce lager. I mean, I don't. It gets warm.
Right, unless you're at like Goldfinger or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're like, fine. Okay.
Right. I guess a pint at a bar is on draft, sure. Do I want a 16-ounce can? I don't know.
I don't know. Then you don't have as many koozies that are 16-ounce koozies.
Koozies. That's funny.
But this beer was originally, draft only at the pub, right?
Yeah, I think it was a recipe they were developing and kind of a favorite of the employees. And I think it graduated from that to pub only to cans.
Okay.
I think that's the story. I actually thought, I'm like, is this the same as the beer that they make for Parsons? If you ever go to Parsons,
Right.
There's a Rev beer, but it's in Parsons font.
That's closer to the Rev Pills, right?
Yeah, and they actually said that's actually Cross of Gold.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Parsons one is Cross of
Yeah.
Gold?
So that's actually like a summer golden ale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good beer, too.
I like it too. Yeah. So this is a whole different thing from that.
Yeah.
And I thought they were the same. So
Is it strange to roll out like a crushable lager like this in the dead of winter, or do you think it plays off the cold time pretty well?
right. And then, like we probably missed Super Bowl's coming up. Right. We're I don't know if there's ever a wrong time for this type of beer.
That's true. Okay.
So maybe that was their approach.
Yeah. And with the, Metropolitan closing and those 12 packs of crankshaft you could pick up or any of those, like this, and Fader's technically gone for the moment. This fills that spot.
That's actually true. It's very timely. Weeks after Metro closes, here comes Chicago's largest independent craft brewery with a brand new year-round 12 can rollout of lagers.
Right.
That's pretty good timing.
If Metro wasn't going to close, they're about to have another person cutting in on their share of the beer market there.
Yeah, I think we talk about it a lot. It's not because they only sold lagers that they closed. Because we never say that when the other guys closed. When Smiley Brothers closed or Renewal closed or whoever else. We never said they closed because they only sold ales. But at the same time, a lot of people are making lagers. a lot more people were making lagers when they closed.
Right, yeah. Damn. So you went and got this, picked it up over at Revolution, and then you grabbed some other things that are coming out, right?
Yeah, so I think this is a sneaky peek of the last two in the Deepwood series. So this is On, and VSOR Select. On, I know a little bit more about. VSOR Select, I'm not so sure about.
Right. So this is a collaboration. It says with Binny's. It's what is it? It's a rye ale aged in rye and bourbon barrels. So Binny's must have worked with Revolution, or Binny's selected the barrels probably, because that's a
Yeah.
lot of the Binny selects like whiskeys you kind of see, right?
They do it. They have a huge program where they do store exclusive picks.
Okay.
So it sounds like if you do a store pick with Binny's, then Binny's just keep the barrel, and then Revolution took those barrels.
Oh, okay.
I think in the video they were saying it's some Sazerac rye barrels in there. That's a Buffalo Trace product, and some other barrels. The Sazerac rye and Weller caught my eye.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But yeah, VSOR. So that's extended aging. So that's probably 2 years compared to the one.
Okay.
Yeah. So and what's going on with this label, man? Is that a skeleton of a horse?
Yeah, it's like the gravedigger guy with a mallet riding a skeleton horse, which I think is called something else, because the skeleton horse with wings.
Oh, Pegasus, right?
Oh, it's Pegasus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skeleton.
Oh, so it's just like Ryway, but it's the skeleton version.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I saw when I was there? I was saying a little bit in the pre-show that I saw double barrel VSOD, the hot ticket item from like last month or 2 months ago. I saw that in the cooler, but then I also saw Dread and Breakfast in the cooler, which I think I like that one just as much as any of them. Dread and Breakfast was the coffee one.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. So
I haven't been over to Rev in a little bit, so I probably need to correct that.
I did ask them about what do you call it? The wrestling thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, where's it gonna be physically in this room? He's like, yeah, we're clearing everything out. So obviously they're not moving the bar, but
Yeah.
all that other stuff, even the barriers, like when you look to the right, you see the huge flag. There's kind of these wooden pillars that are there. They're moving that out.
Oh.
So they're moving everything out so they can make room for this ring.
Oh shit.
So
Okay.
the guys are pretty stoked about it.
All right. Nice. And then there's also this On Part 3. This is a collaboration with Half Acre, correct?
Yeah, and they've all been. So if I got it right, I think the first one was Rev, the second one was Half Acre, and this one is Rev again.
Was anyone asking for number 3? Because 2, I remember 1 being good, 2 was not great.
One was an Imperial Rye Porter. They're all barrel aged. One was an Imperial Rye Porter. 2 was a barley wine made at Half Acre.
Yeah.
And 3 is this one. So
Okay.
it just says double barrel aged stout. Side note, and we probably touched on this last week. I think, as much as I love Half Acre, I think there's more volatility in their releases, right? Like even if some of the Rev stuff has the same profile, it's the same level of enjoyment.
Right. Okay.
With Half Acre, it's a wild ride. Like you don't know what you're gonna get.
Right,
It
like-
could be a 500-foot home run, or it could be something like, you know what? I'm glad I only got 5 ounces. Of
Right.
this.
Like the Orin could be great.
I love Orange.
And then another one comes out, and you're like, that shouldn't have came out, or that's not a special release. Like, what are you guys doing? Why isn't it as good as the last one?
I wonder. I mean, yeah. What am I trying to say? I don't know. But I think they're throwing stuff at the wall, trying to make stuff. Everybody's trying to come out with something new and exciting and different.
Right.
And
Rev doesn't have to fuck around with these deep woods. They're like, you're going to like them.
That's right, and I think they're sticking closer to the vest, right? Like they're doing the things that they do good.
Right.
The only time they really step out of their comfort zone, I would say, is probably ingredient wise, is probably what vanilla or honey jacket.
Right.
But
Or
for
some
the
of the,
most part,
some of the fruit berry ones.
yeah, it's interesting. Just I'm not complaining. I'm just glad we're in a town where we have crews that we like, and then we can kind of nitpick on the differences between the crews. I think that's
Yeah.
all I'm doing. Yeah.
So this is just a double stout. I don't even know how I feel about like everything that goes on with these, because they're weird ass labels. One had like did the last 2 have like mushrooms on them?
They even come with their own glass, which also has a mushroom on it.
But there's no mushroom in this beer.
I don't understand the mushroom. I tried to ask about the mushroom, and I think the Rev guys are like, well, yeah, those are some of my favorite guys that did the mushroom thing. I don't understand what it means.
Right.
It was probably told to me, and I just didn't understand it, so I still don't understand it.
But I think there's going to be mushroom in it every time whenever we open the other on and ons. I was like, I don't really want a beer that has mushrooms in it.
There's mushrooms on a can. So
Yeah.
who made the mushroom beer? Sketchbook?
They're stout with mushrooms in it.
Some kind of sugar cap mushrooms,
Yeah.
and when you boil them, they smell like syrup.
Yeah, maple syrup. Yeah.
That was good.
That was pretty good.
Other than that, I've never had a mushroom beer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brad's really thrown off by the mushrooms.
Probably Scratch has made a mushroom
Oh yeah,
beer.
chanterelle mushrooms from fucking Scratch. You
Okay.
are. That's right. I forgot about that. Totally forgot about that.
Which probably good reason no one remembers that.
That's a weird ass beer. I'm glad there's no mushrooms in these beers. Oh, so on and on part 3. On the label it says double barrel aged stout, and what I think it is this is the one where they took 2 different beers and aged them separately and then blended them together.
Okay.
And one is more pale malt like a barley wine, and the other one was a drier component, a stout.
Okay.
So I think we talked about this before because they were really. I think it was actually kind of interesting to hear about because I think the barley wine actually benefits from being in the barrel more. It changes, it oxidizes, and it goes from being bready to like caramely, right, and figgy, right. That process happens if you take a barley wine and put it in a young barrel, 4-year-old barrel, and let it sit for like a full year. But then you take the stout and you do something a little different. A stout doesn't necessarily benefit as much. So you put it in an older barrel, get these big, crazy oak and bourbon notes, and sit in there for a much smaller amount of time. And then you blend them together. So I don't know if I think that's a new thing for them.
Okay.
So that's, because you're right, double barrel is kind of, depending on the brewer, it could be a totally different thing. Like in the Goose case, double barrel is, hey, we aged it a year in this barrel, put another barrel. The whole.
And that's we barreled that twice, or it could just be half this beer was in one barrel, half was in another barrel.
Like a different type of barrel.
That's technically a double barrel.
Right. So double barrel or DBA from Firestone Walker. I think those are like fresh oak, like neutral oak barrels.
Right.
So.
And then I think they're put in another barrel for like a short amount of time or something.
Yeah. So there's no uniform way to do double barreling.
Right.
It's all over the place. It could be anything. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll dive into that at some point. I feel like it's not high on my list, and I don't know who was asking for it, but it's out here.
On and on 3 and VSOR
Select.
the 26th. January 20th.
Oh, so they're both coming out the release same day, kind of same party. Okay.
Pre-sale 23rd.
Okay.
Release launch party at 26th.
Nice. Cool. Nice. So that was your stop this week. I made one stop. I was over at Hidden Hands. Or not Hidden Hands. Still Life. Drinking some Hidden Hands in Salamoth.
Salamoth doing business as Still Hands. It's Hidden Hands. Hidden Hands, champions of folk. Hidden Hands.
Buddy messaged me on Sunday that like super, super cold day. I had already committed to just staying home and not going anywhere. He's like, oh, going to Middlebrow for lunch. And I was like, I'm not going to that. He's like, oh, but I think there's another spot over there. I'm like, oh, Still Life. I'll come to Still Life. Tell me when you're done at Middlebrow.
That's funny. So you didn't do the hop.
No.
They're like 3 blocks apart, if that. Probably less than. That's probably like
You
less
could
than a
like
block.
look at it. I drove past it to have to park at Still Life, and I was like, no, thank you.
What if it was pizza day at the old?
Nah.
No, still, just no no.
I think they they said they had a barbecue pizza.
I think the pizza's a little overrated at the old
It's all
Middlebrow.
overrated.
Oh, I'm commenting on the pizza.
So this is why I skipped it and just decided to go to Still Life, which is a great other option over there.
Good hang. I'd rather hang out at Still Life than Middlebrow.
But it was way too cold to be out that day, and we sat inside Still Life with jackets on because, people would come in and out of the door, and it's not the biggest place, so it's cold. It was cold.
Yeah, you're insane. We're talking -8 in Chicago,
Yeah,
which is, that's not normal Chicago winter.
but I was like, I guess I don't know why you guys are going out.
I would say every few years we get some good -8.
Yeah. But first beer I got there was something called like Cosmic Bunny, big hazy thing. I hadn't had since we did the Solemn Oath juice the other week. This was even juicier and bigger than that, and it was kind of strange having that beer after I haven't had one in like a really long time.
Oh, you mean, are you talking about the juice collab with Alarmist?
With, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like a sick hazy, fucking double IPA.
Yeah.
Double dry hop, double IPA.
Yeah, hidden hands kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I did pick up some cans, which we'll probably do maybe next week on the show, but we've been doing a lot of Solemn Oath and Hidden Hands because you were just there recently.
I was there
for Valdor.
and hung out and drank some Valdor, which I think was on premise only.
Yeah.
Well, the Oak Age one that won at FOBAB was on premise only, which is actually kind of a smart move. And then the non-Oak Age version you can get and take it to go.
Yeah.
I've been seeing that a lot lately, man. Because when Cantillon does a drop at you go to Beer Temple, you have to drink it there.
Okay.
So you're starting to see that a little bit more.
Yeah. Kind of makes sense. Kind of helps. But yeah, we've been going hard on Solemn Oath really since I think I posted some pictures on Christmas drinking Valdor, and so we've just been Solemn Oath, Hidden Hands nonstop this year.
We're the Solemn Oath unofficial Solemn Oath podcast.
Half Acre's out.
We were the official Half Acre podcast. Then Old Irving for a minute. We had an Old Irving run.
Yeah.
And now we're on the Solemn Oath.
Yeah.
Those are 3 places that if anytime, anywhere, anybody said you want to go, I would be down to go to.
Except there's Rev too, which we do a lot of Rev.
We do drink a lot of Rev. I'm a big fan of Rev. They got a rye stout called Repo Man. Might be coming out. That I might want some of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then ended the little afternoon at Still Life with a Lou to close out the day.
Little $5 Kolsch.
Yeah.
Is the Kolsch gradually shrinking every time you order it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be. It used to be like, I don't know, might have been 12.
Used to be like a giant Stein for $5.
When I was a kid, the Big Mac was way bigger than it is now.
When I was tiny.
I was gonna say they did a collab with Phase 3. I don't know if it's on or if you tried it. It's
I didn't notice it.
It was what was it? It was orange. It was a stout.
Okay.
But it was a stout with some orange in it.
Oh, there was a few stouts that were 15%.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
First off, it's freezing out. I don't know if this ice, what's happening outside. I'm staying as sharp as I can be.
I mean, you went out, man. You're a trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was my only stop. That sounded like your only stop with this cold weather, so it makes sense.
Yeah, man. So we just went to our old haunts, our old favorites, right?
Right, that's true.
It's funny.
Then in the news, there was this Metropolitan thing we're talking about, loggers and Metro.
Yeah.
And so what happened? Everything got auctioned off, or just the IP? Or what was this auction that happened?
There's a similar auction happening at the end of the month for the IP for, goddamn, San Francisco. Anchor. Anchor is auctioning off all their IP assets.
Okay.
So it's it's a brewer auction. I think it's a brewer auction, and equipment company is acting as auctioneer.
Okay.
So they're auctioning off equipment, and in this case, equipment and IP. But this is a crew that I think when you look at the website, it looks like they traditionally just auction off brewing equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. So Metro had a 30-barrel brew house, but then every little individual thing that was there was also being auctioned off.
Okay. Separately?
Exactly. Not all one killer hammer price, but you could just buy the pallet. I mean, you could just buy pallets of cans. You could just buy a forklift. You could just buy centrifuge, jacketed fermenter. You can buy the brew tanks, or you could buy the brew house separately from the fermenters.
So what'd you buy?
Oh, shit. I thought about buying the robots.
Oh, they were on there?
I'm in a condo. I can't justify buying fucking Fritz and whatever the other robot.
What did the robots go for?
I didn't see that. I only took pictures of the brewing equipment.
Okay.
So Metro had two size fermenters. They had some 120 barrel fermenters, and then they had some 60 barrel fermenters.
Okay.
It looks like the 120 barrel fermenter sold for almost $7,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the brew house sold for $15,000.
That's cheap, man.
Yeah.
That thing's probably like double or triple that price if you were to buy it new.
Who's investing in beer these days, though?
All right, that's true. So, but this also means that stuff is leaving that place. Like we were kind of thinking someone could just come in and buy up everything.
It seems that way. It seems that way. Unless the people that bought it are, because the brew house for $15,000, it costs $9,000 in moving fees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a lot of cash here. But the IP sold. The IP sold for more than anything else.
Okay. And the IP includes name, logos, trademarks.
Yeah, trademarks for all the beers, all the logos,
recipes,
all the recipes, best practices on how to brew the recipes. Yeah, that sold for quite a bit. Yeah, it sold for like over $100,000, like $112,000. There were like 150 bids. I had never thought twice about looking at a brewery auction, but I happened to hear about it. I happened to log in, and I'm like, oh shit. So it was interesting to see. So the idea that it would be brewed again somewhere sounds like it is alive and well. You don't drop $115K just to say you own it.
I guess my thought would be someone has a name that's very close, or they needed to change it. That they're like, oh well, we can just like tighten up our name. We are like, I don't know, Columbus Metropolitan Beer Company.
Oh, so a crew that had a janky ass name, and now they're just going to be Metro Brewing.
Yeah, and now they can be Metropolitan Brewing and kind of take over all that.
Upgrade their name. We've seen something similar to this before. Well, the Beta Brow project, right? That was two guys that were fans of Beta Brow.
Yeah.
They went and bought the IP. They tracked down the original yeast strain from some retired Stroh's brewer in fucking Canada, and they started making the beer again. And then when they, but that was the second time around. The one that we know about. But before that, Goose bought the Beta Brow strain in like '88.
Okay.
And they made Beta Brow Pilsner. They won a medal at World Beer Cup. And then they just changed the name to like Goose Pilsner.
Okay.
Up in Milwaukee, Eagle Park Brewing, which is kind of the microphone of Milwaukee, basically. When MKE closed, they bought MKE's IP. So on occasion, they roll out MKE beers. Yeah. So.
But see, this didn't work for Beta Brow 2 times in a row.
Yep.
You roll out Beta Brow, or 3 times, it fails, or doesn't fail. I guess, yeah, it fails. So why would you roll out in Chicago again, Metropolitan Brewing? Like, no one's gonna be like, oh, I thought this closed. I'm gonna drink this. I didn't drink this beer before. Let's drink it this time.
That's why I don't think the people who bought it are beer people.
Oh.
Right? A beer person is betting. There's no local beer person that's gonna bet on them knowing how to sell Metro beer in Chicago better than the guys who founded it. Beer people, I don't think beer people are going to take that challenge on, right? Because if you got that kind of coin, you would just expand your own lines.
Your own brewery.
This is the same thing that if we believe, and we don't know them, so if we believe what Other Half and the Remova Theater are saying in Pilsen about Bridgeport, they're saying, hey, we asked a bunch of Chicago breweries, Chicagoland breweries, and no one took us up on it. If we're to believe that to be true, and I kind of believe it's true, then those same breweries are probably preoccupied with their own shit, so they're not buying another IP.
Could.
Even if they could, right? They're not buying another IP.
Yeah, could Doug or Tracy take out a new loan from someone, go and buy all the stuff on auction to get it all back cheaper?
And then go set up shop somewhere else away from the asshole landlord.
Right, or just come back in with like debt-free equipment and be like, okay, we got new terms now.
And then they have a silent partner that assumed some of the debt from the auction.
Right.
And now they're off and running again. I always thought this is what Goose would do. Because, all right, so sure, Goose is on Salt Shed, which is actually on Goose Island, and the original Goose was not on Goose Island. I always thought when they sold, in whatever that was, 2010, that eventually, when the non-compete went away, they would get the band back together and build an actual brewery on Goose Island. I thought that's what they would do.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm holding out hope that that's how the Metro story ends.
But we just want that space to come back as a brewery and hang out there. We weren't buying Metro beer at Binny's or Capone's or wherever to drink. So
The bet was, so Metro was in Ravenswood and near Cove Hall, much smaller space, no tap room. The bet was, from Metro standpoint, hey, people love our beer and it's good. Let's get into a bigger space with the tap room, and then let's have a ton of capacity and sell more beer in the market, right? So whoever bought this IP, is that what they're going to do? They're just going to attack the same market and try to sell beer when maybe Metro was running into some trouble doing that?
right when breweries are closing, Nick thinks there'll be less breweries in Illinois this year. So why would you?
Because you're a dude who has money and you've never owned a brewery or made beer, and you're making that bet from the outside of the beer world.
Your other half guy, for Ramona Theater.
I think the kind of person who would make that bet is a guy from another industry looking at this and saying, "Hey, this could work," and 112K ain't a lot of money to me for assets.
Yes.
IP, right?
So I saw how many people were in here. They must have just been doing something wrong. I think I can do it right.
Right. How else do you explain it? Like, who else is doing this? It all just seems, And mind you, we don't have, I think we don't own breweries, so.
No, we wildly speculate on this podcast.
So, but it's fun. It's fun to think about. So, but I don't know. But it's gonna ride again.
Somewhere, somehow,
And the Metro.
the recipes. Which beer would you want to see come back the most?
Are they making a generator with the fucking coffee again? That's my jam.
Release that in cans.
That's my jam. Figure out a way to get that nitro thing. I mean, Left Hand figured it out. Guinness. Since you got so much money, since you're dropping 115K
All
on
these coffee places have
Nitro?
nitro coffee. It doesn't even have a nitro thing in it. It just says nitro coffee. I think it's just something when you pour it out, it gets all foamy.
No, they don't have a little ball in it.
No. Like Big Shoulders has nitro coffee can.
But I mean, is beer different though? I mean, the presence of alcohol change how you do that? I don't know.
Possibly.
So that's what I want to see. Since you got so much goddamn money, put the generator in cans. Let's go. Yeah. But to be honest with you, man, like, God, I hate, I don't mean to be trite towards Metro because I really like the whole thing. But we were drinking Oktoberfest. We had the lineup. Sergio was here. We had 30 of them or whatever. And the Metro one was in the middle of the road. And the year before that, it was our control. It was the version.
It was low this past year.
And when we went on to say goodbye and recorded, I was drinking the Doppelbock all night, and I was in a good mood. I bought some Doppelbock to go. I drank the Doppelbock out of a Metro Stein when I got home, and it was not the same experience that it was on draft.
There was a canning problem.
Sweeter, more cereal forward, like grain. It just wasn't the same, and I was like, damn, maybe it was a little different lately. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But I think I'd rather grab a 12-pack of Fader or Cold Time than I would Crankshaft or Flywheel.
Yeah.
At this point.
So we'll see.
Well, I can't. Yeah.
I'd be surprised if another brewery picked it up. Well, let me rephrase that. I'd be surprised if a local Chicago brewery decided, hey, once a month we're going to release Metro because we own the brand.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if that happened.
What about Seeps? Seeps?
Mm-hmm.
Was that separate and Metro was just brewing the beers?
Yeah, because if you look at the trademark, it didn't include Sipes. Metro IPs didn't include Sipes. It just included all their beers.
Okay.
Yeah, and Sipes wasn't.
But I wonder if the Sipes recipes were included.
Oh, because they probably for sure developed those recipes.
Right.
Yeah.
Or was that Sipes recipes then?
I think it was
Because we've met them before at the Oktoberfest party.
and I think Doug kind of mentioned one of them because they had two Sipes releases, and the second one, the darker one, was like reimagined.
Yeah.
Doug reimagined the recipe, so they didn't really have. They had loosely defined what it should be.
So that person didn't get those?
No, so Sipes might ride again. separately.
A third time for Sipes.
This, so we talked about Beta Brow. In Indianapolis, Sun King has a couple of lager brands that they brought back.
Okay. Like some stuff meant to die.
Now you sound like Steve Hamburg.
Let it die, Nick. Let it die.
But these things historically, and this is just our lens of craft beer, and maybe a little bit before it, so we'll say 90s. From the 90s until now, there's never a good track record of these brands that, when extinct coming back, having much more success than they did when they were alive the first time. There's no precedent that that's going to happen.
Right.
So, and I think that's probably what you'll see here. It'll come back and then it'll
die again.
It won't be as fun as the first one. It won't be fun as the first time around.
You mentioned Steve Hamburg, and I saw Dovetail did an event with the hot poker.
Oh shit! I did see that. It was one of those super cold days though.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I was like, I missed that.
But I didn't know they were doing it, and I think I needed to know a little bit more time. I think they may try to do it again.
I would love to try the hot poker thing.
This is for anyone listening or watching. This is when you basically heat up a poker and you put it in the beer and kind of swirl it around. It makes it all foamy and frothy. Gives it kind of a smoky warmth to it.
Yeah, it kind of changes the complexion of it completely. Just fucking like creme brulee it up. I would have totally gone to that. And it was a Roush beer night, so there were smoked beers from art history. There were other guest drafts, and it was like a dark Roush beer night.
Shit.
Yeah, maybe some of that stuff's still on.
But probably not the poker.
Man, I did see that they used repurposed dovetail handles to make the pokers.
Oh.
So maybe the poker's like part of their thing now, right? Like maybe you just roll in and
be like, give me a poke.
And they poke you. Trying to get poked up in here. What's going on? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I've only seen that once, and that was when Ely opened, and this was like fucking long ago.
I know. But yeah, Steve Hamburger was in Dovetail's video.
Oh yeah.
Of him videoing it happening.
Shout out to little Stevie Hamburg. I really like that guy.
Cool. Yeah. The only other thing we saw this past week was Dark Lord Day 100. Or what? 20?
20, right. Dark Lord Day 20. Fobab recently did 20, and now Dark Lord's doing 20.
Fobab 20. So Dark Lord's been around as long as Fobab? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
That math doesn't math.
I didn't go to Dark Lord in the beginnings, I missed the first few Dark Lords. Then when they talked about, I think the first year I went was Green Wax, 2010, and the pub was open. But by that point, there had been Dark Lords in like 2000, in the mid 2000s, and I didn't go to any of those. So.
Okay. I saw this announcement. I didn't know how I felt about this, just because it's like I feel like the last one, I think it went over very well, but it wasn't as big or exciting for, I think, the beer world.
I think even with the Phase 3 thing, I'm at Phase 3 a lot, but then kind of joke on my way to Phase 3, like, I'm going to the annual cellar raid for sweet beers and kids, right?
Sure.
And, I think you just get to a point where you're like, hey, is this still my thing? There's amazing barrel-aged beers that come out all year long. The guys we're drinking today are part of the reason that is. But it's like the idea of marching down to Munster for a Dark Lord, this beer with low drinkability with a bunch of metalheads. I mean, you have to decide if that's something you're still into after like 10 years.
Sure, yeah.
So maybe that's what
you gotta get home, and there's a bottle share aspect, and so it's a time.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I was at the last one. I had a great time. The bottle share is the best piece. My big takeaway from Dark Lord Day last year was that as much as I used to think Dark Lord was sweet, I had a Phase 3 next to a Dark Lord, and the Phase 3 was way sweeter.
Oh, okay.
Way sweeter. But yeah. I mean, Dark Lord's that's a tradition. I never know any of the bands.
Right. I think they just announced the date. No bands yet, right? Just that the date. This is the date for it, which if you look at that date, that means that week weekend or the next week should be Illinois Craft Beer Week,
That's true. I think,
which then we're just getting into summer.
yeah, all we gotta do is hold on. This week the equipment truck for the White Sox with all their gear took off for Arizona this week.
Okay.
All we gotta do is hang on, man, and it'll be spring training in no time, and it'll be St. Patty's Day, spring. It's coming. We
Sure.
just gotta hang on.
Right. Okay. You think you're gonna go to Dark Lord this coming year?
I'm old, man.
I know you didn't do your donuts last year.
I didn't do my donuts. I went to I don't know, man. It's a lot, and I was
Sure.
kind of bummed out. That they swapped out the coffee maker, so it's 2 employees that left Three Floyds, and they make coffee like basically across the street from.
Oh,
there.
right. So it's not Dark Matter anymore.
Yeah, it's Bean Me Up. Yeah, I went over there. I couldn't find the beans. I'm more excited about the distillery opening, I think, than I am Dark Lord Day.
Okay.
But that's just me. Now I said all that, and then if
Come April, Nick will be there.
I'll probably be there. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up? Get out of here. I think that was all I saw.
I think that's it, man.
Oh, Best Friends 2.
Oh, Best Friends turn 11.
Yeah.
At the
Bottle and Cans, Beguile. You rated this as one of the best parties of the year.
Dude, that was a good hang.
What's the date?
Yeah. What is the date? We can
I
pull
think
it
they
up.
posted on their Facebook, so this is, again, Beguile and Bottle.
Bottles and Cans,
Bottles
which is
and
a
Cans.
bottle shop not too far from Beguile. But yeah, Best Friends turn 10. Why wouldn't Beguile have this on their feed, man?
It should be in their events section.
Yeah. Oh, Best Friends turn 11, February 17th. Yeah. So, because I've been to, we've been to this place before, right? We've been for Brew Year's Eve.
Right. It's
So,
the Chicago Artifacts.
Yeah.
Artifacts?
Yeah. So I've been there for Brew Year's Eve. I've been there there was a Basil Hayden Friendsgiving one year. And then I've been there for this. But the Chicago Time Out Awards are usually at this thing, so I've been there for that.
Okay.
But out of all the things I've been to, that was the best party I've been to out of all those things, and that's definitely stood out for me.
Okay.
That's a good hang. They got they had like 30 breweries. All the guys who work at the breweries were pouring, which was cool. And then behind that there was a fucking whiskey library, and then there's a cocktail bar making cocktails with Beguile stuff, and then there's like bands all day. There's a food truck, fucking atrium outside with a bunch of fucking food trucks. There's like a video game room. It is something.
But that's coming up fast. 1 month away.
Yeah. That was good.
So it's not even that far away. Shit. Oh, all right. So get your tickets for that, or if they're on sale, or when they're on sale. I don't think you want to miss it this time.
Yeah. It's like a party in someone's mansion, right? That's how I felt. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, then. I think that's gonna do it for this week's episode. We'll dive into some deep woods and on soon. But yeah, I'll do it. Take care.
Cheers.